Okay. Okay, this is
But
we're starting it back up
it's like
again.
that same tinge of fear of like, now, Mike, did you clean your room? And it's like, yeah, I cleaned my room. And it's like, well, what did you clean first? And it's like, well, I didn't actually clean my room, so I don't have an answer to it.
Uh-huh.
So
I thought
I
you
felt
Well,
the
I
would
didn't mean
say
to put you on the spot. I just like the idea of hypothetical fans having the opportunity to
yeah,
separately meet us and sign their autograph books.
I'm
I
hoping
like that as well. And I like that,
I'm serious. If somebody wants to go to that ballet, to no any, I'll take anybody, any age, any gender, whatever. We can go, we can talk. I'll give you my autograph, whatever you need. I did have two more quick notes. I wanted to talk about the Packers game, which I actually have to go soon because this is gonna be the first football game I will watch all year. I'm gonna watch from start to finish. And then I also had a note about circumcision, which is a topic that we visit a lot on this podcast.
Time memorial.
Yes, absolutely. It's an age-old debate. Um, so I'll start with the circumcision piece, Adam, and this is like total, we're just kind of going off into the ether here. I asked my dad over Christmas break why. I asked him why.
It was
Why?
great. Had you ever before, or this was the first time you'd ever
This is the
directly
first time
asked?
I asked him. I mean, I confront him with things like this all the time, so he wasn't surprised to hear me ask this question. I mean, I famously said something last Christmas. I don't remember what it was, but it was so depraved that it made him do one of these. Oh God. He said, I want to die in response to whatever I said. So I asked him, I confronted him, of course, in front of like all the family and my brother's girlfriends. And I think I phrased it like, now, Dad, why didn't you think to consult me before making the decision to have the doctor snip my penis? And his response was, he looked at me incredulously. He's like, first of all, nobody consulted me. He had apparently had no participation in that decision process. And he said, and
Oh, that
nobody
you
asked
guys
me.
got circumcised? That it was your mom?
He said, no, listen, he said, nobody consulted me when I was a baby, and nobody consulted me when I was a father. His aunt, and the point was, this was just the default. This was the norm. Like, you
Insane.
circumcised your male kids.
Like not even like a check mark on a box when you're going to the hospital.
He said, nobody asked my parents. They just did it, and nobody asked me.
And
Now,
what do you, before I say anything, what do you think about that?
I think it's true. I think in those days, the norm was to circumcise, and that your
Well,
guys
if we take that to
put in
the
a
truth,
special, your guys' parents had to put in a special request. Oh, can you not? We actually want to leave the foreskin.
but I'm saying, given that that is the case, what do you think about that?
What do you mean? What do I think about it?
Like, do you think that makes sense?
To be perfectly honest, I said this recently to Mike on the phone. Like, this is what makes this issue so fun to talk about is how utterly meaningless it is. And so, if I'm being honest, I think it really doesn't matter.
Well, like to me, I get being like whatever, but it does seem weird to cut something off and not even mention it. Like
like
that,
having
I don't
like
think that's how it
you're
was. I
cutting off,
believe that's how it was.
but it's a flap of skin. You're talking about like having an innie versus an outie. It's a flap of skin. It's
But
an
still, like,
extraneous flap.
it wouldn't even like be like, oh, by the way, that it would go unmentioned.
It's a flap of skin. Just doesn't matter.
Well, your eyelids, you wouldn't like cut them off and not say
No,
anything. You know
the
what I mean?
eyelids serve a purpose. The eyelids are
So
functional.
it is a foreskin. It is a lesser purpose, but a purpose I'm the same.
What's that?
To protect the tip of your penis.
To protect it from what? Your zipper, I suppose.
Depending on your lifestyle, what's going on around there?
If you're like you, dragging that sucker through the gates of death every time you take a leak, you need that foreskin to buffer the impact of the serrated zipper that rakes against Adam Schlong every time he takes a leak. And that's
and it keeps the important part pristine during all that.
and covered with pristine and covered with cheese, covered with smegma. Yeah.
Any other thing where they just wouldn't even be like, so like I can imagine it just being like an offhand like circumcision, right? We're all good with that. But like the idea that no conversation would happen is very funny to me.
It's just the norm is to snip it off because it's like, why would we want to have that? Why would we need that?
I mean, I believe it, but it's still funny to me.
The whole thing is funny. That's why I brought it up. Okay, so more and then on the Packers game, Mike. So Packers are playing the Bears. Adam, if you're from Wisconsin, this is a huge. This is the biggest, but you lived there for a long time. This is the biggest rivalry in sports. Mike, would you agree?
Yeah, and it's oldest rivalry, like a lot of history here.
And one of these two teams, actually, no, the Bears are not going to the playoffs.
Yeah, the Bears are not going. That's right.
Okay, so that actually makes it a little bit less dramatic. The Packers have a chance to go to the playoffs, and they will seal it if they win this game.
Yes, and the only way the Packers can make the playoffs now is if they win. So this is a playoff game for the Packers. And just to jump in here, Evan, even though the Bears are out of the playoffs, like there is nothing that they would want to do more than prevent the Packers from going to the playoffs.
That's right. So it's going to be a bloody battle. And I am going to watch. I don't even like football, even though I've now recently started collecting football cards, but that's another story.
What's up with them?
You know, I follow these. I really have always liked collecting trading cards, and it started with Marvel, and now, you know, when I was a kid, I did baseball. The football cards are exciting because every once in a while there'll be a new set release where like these. It's like gambling, basically. Like you bust open these packs, and there could be a really valuable card in there. It's a big waste of money, and I like to waste money, and so. I collect the football. I like the cards. I said, you know, it's like when you don't have kids like I do, this is the problem. When you don't have kids, you end up doing stupid shit like this, like your childish money spending impulse. Like you have to spend the money on something. So
yeah, I feel like albums, movies, those are still ostensibly, no matter the caliber, a work of art, which can be enjoyed in a different way than a collectible item with no replay value besides just looking at the given object.
I do all the above.
Huh?
Do all the above. I buy movies and records too. There's nothing wrong. Yeah, I mean, why not?
I just do. Whenever people get into buying things that just are, you know, and I know your brother knows a lot about this, just objects that sit places to be there and not be touched. That's the thing I've never. No derision to those of that particular band, but it's never really clicked for me.
Well, he's the person to talk to you about that. For me, it's not just that. It's that there could be something in the pack I'm going to bust open that is like a golden ticket in the Willy Wonka chocolate bar. And
that you would sell?
That you could sell or just have. So there's an intrigue and an anticipation.
Have you done that? Have you gotten a valuable card and resold it?
Sure, yeah.
What's the biggest number value for a card that you've sold?
The most valuable card I ever opened was actually last summer. I opened up a hobby box of a particular kind of Marvel card. I won't go into it, but I pulled out a card that was worth around $1,000, and I sold it for, I think I got $800 for the card. Now, how much money did I have to spend to open that card, right? Like that's the fucking.
I'm not interested in that. I know that those numbers don't necessarily tally up, but I was just curious the kind of value that you've encountered in your card collecting.
I mean, there's some cards in there, man. Like if you open up a numbered, like 1 of 1, like if it's football, for instance, and you open up who's the guy? Who's the Ravens guy, Mike?
Well, Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. You open up a Lamar Jackson.
I think, given that the football's about getting close to being placed on the tee, I think we should probably get to the point of wrapping up here. 2 questions before we do. Quick one for you, Adam. How much snow is on the ground and how much is still to fall out there?
There's probably in the range of 3 to 4. I think it's supposed to wrap up in the evening tonight, so I bet we'll get like 6.
Was this the first snowfall of the year that you've had, or is it?
We've had a whole snowfall. Everything melted. This is like round 2 of significant snow after everything melted and got in like 50 degrees for a couple weeks.
Got it. All right. Well, I'm always interested in next week there's some chatter that there could even be some snow in Seattle, which of course is not unheard of, but less common. So, to fully put a bow on this one, time for the burger ranking.
I almost thought you had forgotten about it. I almost thought it was going to end and you guys weren't going to remember it, and I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, have you changed your mind on quantitative ratings at all, Adam? Do you have any?
Even I don't want to do it for this one, but I'm
Okay.
going to.
Oh, geez. I mean, we can also take a vote if we, want to even forego it this time.
Oh, no.
No, I think you guys have to commit to it. I think you guys both have to do it forever, and I never have to.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the rating systems are red shoes.
Well, that's right. And I'm going to give it, for that reason, like many other movies that we've reviewed, I'm going to give it all 4 ruby red rare cheeseburgers. In fact, I want them to be raw so that you can really see the red blood on the meat. That's how much I liked the red shoes. So
And I'm also gonna give this 4 cheeseburgers. And I guess on that theme, I'm gonna steal your idea and say I'm gonna put some red peppers on it as well. Just because it's not only is it red, but also it was a very unique element of it. And you know what? Maybe I even add, just because I have it right in front of me, some red hot salsa to those.
That's a
Kind of like a Southwestern burger.
There you go. Tex-Mex, a little Tex-Mex up.
Well, I guess that's it. Thank you everybody for watching, for spending this slice of time with us again. So we will reconvene to watch Black Narcissus at a later date. Hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed our conversation and making it. And everybody have a great day.
Okay. God bless.